Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our crucifixion live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us. One night, a woman wakes, from sleep and discovers her husband of 20 years is not in bed. It's the middle of the night. She goes downstairs to find him sitting at the kitchen table in the dark, one small dim light, and he's drinking a cup of coffee. And she says, "Honey, what are you doing? Why are you down here?" He says, "Today is the, 20th anniversary of the day we met." She says, "Wow. I didn't know he realized that." And she, comes closer to him. He says, "Do you remember when we first met and started dating when I was 18 and you were 16? She says, "Yeah, I remember." He says to her, "Do you remember when your dad caught us in the back of our car?" And she said, "Yeah, of course I do." And wiping a tear, she's like moved to tears, touched. He says, "Do you remember when he put that shotgun in my face and said, you either marry this girl or I'm going to send you to jail for 20 years. Sitting next to him, she says, "Yeah, I remember." He says, "Well, today I would have gotten out." He thought that's funny too. All right, that's a silly story. It's funny. All right. So why do I start with that? Because yesterday we talked about wives submitting to husbands. Today we're going to talk about the fellas, right? And the jokes are always that the wives are hard on the husbands and the guys, all this stuff. All right, so the text we're dealing with is Ephesians chapter 5. Because yesterday we saw that St. Paul tells wives to submit to their husbands. Before you finish this episode, if you didn't watch yesterday, go back, watch yesterday, make sure you get it because it'll set the whole context. Wives, submit to your husbands. There is order there, and the wife in the Roman Empire to the Ephesians, the church in Ephesus, this group of people in a specific place 2,000 years ago, the wife was under the husband. And in that context, as I said yesterday, husbands, the pater familias, the father of the family, his wife was, in some real sense, a slave to him, another slave, maybe higher ranking than some of the other slaves, but she was subservient to him, right? And so in that context, he could probably just get a different wife anytime he wanted. I don't know that he would do, have 5 and 6 and 7 wives at a time, but the statement is... The context, rather, is that he could it was about him and all about him. And so, all of a sudden, after submitting the wives to the husbands to humble them, he now does the same thing. And he says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church." Okay, so now, in the modern American context, people get irritable. Like, wait, Paul is telling me to submit to my husband, to the women to submit to their husbands, but all the guys have to do is love? All right, well, first of all, he's not talking to you. And secondly, how does he, Christ, love the church and gave himself for it, right? Ephesians 5, verse 25 says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself." He died for the church. St. Paul is telling the husbands, you must be willing to sacrifice and die for this woman because that is humbling you. In other words, you, husbands, are not to have the mental attitude that this woman is just a piece in your puzzle. She's your wife, and you must be willing to die for her, even on a cross if necessary. Now, you and I, in the American context, thank God we don't have crucifixion anymore, thank God, but the point is still the same. In marriage, in the context of marriage, husbands, if they are to, in traditional marriages, if they are to lead, to be the head of the house, the way Paul talks about, it requires not bossiness. Leadership in a Christian family as a warrior saint means sacrifice, self, death of sacrifice of self, death even of self for the sake of that woman who is your bride. Do you understand that? I use the silly image all the time because it's just the best one I've got. But as you know, all I do all day long, all Deacon Greg does all day long is teach and teach and teach. And that means talk and talk and talk. And I have parishioners that come in that we talk, and then people talking online and talking in our Understanding the Bible series and all the teachings that we do. When I'm done with the day, I want to go home and sit down and not talk. I'm done. I'm done speaking. I just want to sit in front of the TV and watch a Lakers game, right? But at the same time, there's a woman that's been home all day or at work all day doing the things that she does, even earlier in our marriage when she was raising our beautiful children when they were itty bitties, right? Like, she wants to talk. And so the TV goes off and we sit at the table and we speak. That's not a big deal to some of you may say, but the point, the image that I'm driving is that I'm putting my needs, my desire, my will aside so that I can be crucifixional, sacrificial, and feed her needs and give nourishment and nurturing to her. Do you understand that? It's the sacrifice it's the death of what I want so that I can give her what she wants. That's what Paul is talking about. And if you are a man in this modern context, right, then you must love her. Remember, guys, love it ain't a feeling. Like is a feeling. Love is a verb. It's an action. And the love that St. Paul is telling us is Christ-like love, which means sacrificial on the cross, die to self for the sake of other. Here's the good news. With women submitting, as we talked about yesterday, and husbands being willing to die, as we're talking about today, if you do this within the context of your marriage, it will not be a good marriage. It will be great. It'll be awesome. It'll be blessed. It'll be a blast. I mean, that's just how it works, right? Life is not always easy. Nor is it always perfect, and we all know this. Even within marriages, it's not always perfect nor easy. We know that. But I promise you, if husbands are willing to love and wives to submit, and husbands to submit and wives to love, this marriage will be awesome. I'm just telling you. It's a great experience. All right. I think I'm done ranting. Hopefully all of that was made abundantly clear to our beautiful people. Yesterday with the wives, today with the hubbies. All right. Remember, if you need some help with this kind of stuff, really first understanding it, visit warrior.saints.org. It's our website, and subscribe to Understanding the Bible, right? I mean, we have a whole thing on Ephesians there, which will make it so clear. It's so much more thorough than just now. And it's excellent, excellent work. It will help you understand Scripture. Also, you could bundle it, and over there we also have we call it our 6-part battle plan. How do you live your life, right? How do you implement, once you understand the Bible, how do you implement it? Well, we've got a plan out there for you to do it as well. It's really, forgive me, but it's excellent stuff. We worked hard on it. And we're about to upload, hopefully soon, a new series on the 6-part battle plan about crucifixional marriage, where our very own Deacon Greg does his full teaching on the sacrament of marriage and how to live it. So there's a lot of stuff out there to help you as you're trying to get through this stuff. Don't miss that opportunity. Don't waste that opportunity. We're giving you 101%. Make sure you take advantage of it. Just visit, subscribe, and get after it. All right. I love you. I'm done talking. We will be back tomorrow. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.